Tony. Tatenda.
Oh, Tony. Just say, like, I'm happy to be on Hot 96 in Shona.
Andrew kufara kuvapa Hot 96.
That sounds very lovely. Say it again.
Andrew kufari sisa kuvapa Hot 96.
Even me.
Did you listen to the Hot Breakfast this morning? Here's what you missed.
From voice to film.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there is a film that's going to premiere today at the Westgate Mall, and you guys, you should check it out, folks, because it's won so many awards. Huge, it's huge. The title of the movie is Gonarezhou. I hope I said this right. Gonarezhou. It's a movie about conservation. It's a movie about trafficking and poaching. That's all it's all about, and it's a great, great movie. You guys, you should be at the premiere today at the Westgate. Joining us here in the studio is a Zimbabwean producer actress in this movie. Her name is TARIRO WASHE. Joining us live on Hot 96. Welcome to Hot 96.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Excellent.
Yeah, you even look happy.
You're all this early in the morning.
It's very early and not so hot outside.
Yes.
It's cold.
Yes. Obviously, it's not your first time in Kenya.
No, it's not. I've been here a couple of times for Kalasha, for the awards and also for the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is the first film where you're actually acting in, right?
Yes, it was my debut acting, I suppose, performance and also producing, which was quite interesting combination.
So take us to the beginning. Before you got into acting, what were you doing before and before that? So that we get to understand who TARIRO WASHE is.
So, interestingly enough, before all of that, all of my acting, I was doing sports. My background is sports management. I wasn't much of an academic growing up. I just went to school for the lunch bell so sports would start. And I'm like, right, let's get this on. So when it was time to go to tertiary, I was like, what am I supposed to study? And then sport made sense. So I did sport. And then at some point, I had what I called a beginning life crisis and decided that I don't actually want to, if I'm not on the field or on the court, I don't care what happens behind the scenes. And that's how I found myself in photography. I realized it was something I was always passionate about growing up. And I made the switch. I made the switch to photography. And then it was like a natural progression from still to motion.
So like when you were sports manager, which sport and who did you manage?
Well, I managed myself. No.
Which sport did you play?
I played basketball, and just to share some information, back in college, they called me Kobe. I know, I'm just,
there was no female WNBA star they could have called you like, what's her name?
Cynthia Cooper was more around my time. Okay. I guess.
They called you Kobe.
They called me Kobe.
My goodness.
They called me
So how
Kobe.
good were you? Did you make it like national team?
I made the national team in Zimbabwe for high school, and when I moved to South Africa, that's where I did my tertiary. I played for Western Province. I was a captain there. My dream was to go to WNBA or NBA, but still dreaming. One day. One day.
All right. Maybe you can, on the side, capture using your movie skills and photography and go back into sports management. Then you do all 3-4 things at the same
Why
time.
not?
Yeah?
Why not?
Or a basketball movie from Zimbabwe.
That's not actually a shabby idea at all.
Can I get a little credit for that?
Of course.
It's just at the ending credits put in like the tiniest font.
Contributor. So I pronounce this right? Gonarezhou?
Gonarezhou. So, yes.
What language is that?
Shona.
Shona.
It's Shona.
Oh, Shona is Zimbabwean language, yeah?
Yes.
Just say, like, I'm happy to be on Hot 96 in Shona.
Andrew kufara kuvapa Hot 96.
That sounds very lovely. Say it again.
Andrew kufari sisa kuvapa Hot 96.
Even me.
Tatenda.
There we go.
Have you been to Kisumu?
I haven't.
Oh, are you around next weekend?
I'm not.
Okay, then we only have tomorrow.
We can make it happen.
So tell us about Gonarezhou.
So Gonarezhou is an anti-poaching film. It was written and directed by Sydney Taiba Vashe. And basically what inspired him to write this was back in 2013. There was an onslaught of elephants, 300 elephants that were killed using cyanide, which is very, very sad. So he was just like, what? It was his first, his introduction, I suppose, to like poaching or hearing and learning about poaching. And as a filmmaker, he thought, okay, I need to do my part to bring awareness to such atrocities. And so he started writing this film. Then he met me in 2018, and he asked me to be to produce. At this point, I was just doing photography. I had no desire, I suppose, to go into film, and I had no background. So then, long story short, I said yes after reading the script like 6 months after he gave it to me, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dope, let's make this happen. And here we are. It took us 2 years to make. It was such a long, tedious and heart-wrenching process, but really thankful for the process and the product. When we premiered, our global premiere was at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles, and it won an award. So it was all worth it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a journey.
How long is it?
How long is the film?
Movie, yeah.
It's an hour 30 minutes.
Okay. Wow, so it's a proper film.
Proper.
And I see you in conjunction with the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. So
Yes.
what do they contribute there? Access to the parks, funding?
Access to the park. They gave us vehicles, some of their personnel, accommodation when we were shooting in the parks. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then now funding. Who funds movies? Like, Africa, we're not yet really big on...
We
on
need
the
to
funding
talk about
movies.
that.
Yeah.
Hey.
I have given you the opportunity.
Hey, we need to talk about policy makers, decision makers, all of you who are listening.
Yes.
Please, let's fund film, because really, like, film is a soft power. It's something that we can use to bring out, to teach people, bring awareness, and it can actually contribute to the GDP. Look at what Hollywood is doing with film. Look at how we've all bought into okay, maybe not all of us, but a lot of people have bought into the American dream. We all know what, the Times Squares looks like, I've never been there, but I know there's a corner there with
lights and
all of that, and I believe that now is the time for Africa to show and to take our narrative back, and to begin to push our own stories and tell our story, our stories ourselves, in an African way. So yeah, I believe that now is the time for money, resources, policies to be geared towards developing film, because we've got so many stories on this continent, and I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a shift in Hollywood for telling and looking at African stories. But it's not Africans telling it, and it's a treasure that we have. It's something that's so innate and inherent in us, telling stories. So let's make money with it.
How is the movie scene in Zimbabwe/Southern Africa?
Southern Africa, we have obviously there's South Africa there, which is massive. Zimbabwe, more specifically, it's growing. I wouldn't call it an industry quite yet, but it's more of a film community. But we have a lot of talented filmmakers. We've got one film currently on Netflix. It's the first film that came out on Netflix, and there's a lot of young filmmakers coming up, so there's a lot of talent. It's just a matter of realizing the potential that we have, not only, locations as a film destination, but the stories, the content that we have, and basically supporting that.
By the way, this premiere is today, right, of Gonarezhou?
Correct.
Today at the Westgate Mall.
Correct.
6 p.m.
Correct.
And it's only one day. I mean, this is just a one-day thing.
It's a one-day thing. But we are looking to put it onto a streaming platform. I won't say which one just yet.
I think we can guess which one.
Are you sure? Maybe there's another one.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So excited for that, and we'll hopefully be soon announcing the streaming platform. But we wanted to just bring it to Kenya first, because I love what Kenya is doing in the film space, what the Kenya Film Commission is doing. I love the intentionality in developing film, making sure that local filmmakers are trained, are skilled, and also all the way up to finding distribution and a market for film. So kudos to the Kenyan Film Commission.
All right. So I guess they're going to be part of the screening event. Is it open to the public or?
It's by invitation.
All right. So would you be doing the same? Like I'm sure you've made contact with Kenya Wildlife Service, and we also have similar problems. Like I think all of Africa has similar problems when it comes to wildlife,
especially poaching.
Yeah, it's poaching and all of this human-wildlife conflict.
That's it.
Do you see yourself partnering with most wildlife service across Africa to change the way things are happening?
I think it's necessary. I think collaboration is very necessary. We actually have the director of the Kenyan Wildlife Services coming to the premiere. We have a panelist discussion, and he's part of it. I think it's we need to find, as Africans, we need to find African solutions to our problems. The film actually speaks to some of those themes that we have as problems and how we can kind of combat that and use who we are innately, who we are as African people, to figure out solutions to these challenges.
Yeah. Because one of the challenges I want to notice, because this is based on what I've seen on Twitter, I don't know how true it is,
right,
is we have a lot of people who buy licenses to come and kill our wild animals. Do you have that kind of situation because that usually happens in like private conservancies?
Yes, game reserves. Yeah, I mean, I think there is hunting, legal hunting, in Zimbabwe, but it's quotas, so it's all calculated and ensuring, like I told you earlier before we got on air, we have a problem of an overpopulation of elephants in Zimbabwe. We have 40,000 elephants above our carrying capacity, which
what is a carrying capacity? I mean, the elephants are just minding their business.
They're just minding their business, and that speaks to, I guess, the success of our conservation and our protection of our wildlife, because now we've got too many elephants. As anybody, we've got a lot of elephants, but it's necessary to because of that more. There's a lot of downstream effects, right? Like the ecosystem will be impacted because of that, and depending on which side of the fence you sit on, either the wildlife is encroaching communities, or people are encroaching the wilderness areas, depending on your school of thought. But that then leads to human wildlife conflict. So we need to find solutions where we can get to a place of human wildlife coexistence.
Is that now how the hunting becomes legal? So
the hunting, I suppose, is to help. Because I spoke about quotas, so there are quotas that are given, and it's all calculated, all scientific, where it's
someone just sits down and says, "Oh no, there are too many lions now. They're eating the cows. Let us eliminate 10."
Well, because I suppose they look at the piece of land that the area that the animals are on, and how many elephants do we need to make sure that they don't eat all the plain game being like kudu, giraffe, and all those pretty animals that don't eat people. And how many lions do we have to make sure that the plain game don't like run out because they're too many, or how many elephants are there so that we make sure that the trees don't suffer, because elephants they love baobab, but they can come and completely destroy if they're too many. So I guess from there, those that know the numbers, I failed in maths, so I don't know what they do, but something with their stats, and they figure it out.
Okay.
This is just not a one-off movie for you, right? You are actually a conservationist.
I am. I volunteer for an all-female anti-poaching unit. It's called Akashinga. It's actually the first of its kind, and I'm so proud that it started in Zimbabwe. It's an initiative done by the International Anti-Poaching Federation, IAPF, and they're now taking it to different countries once they found the best practice of it in Zimbabwe. And what they realized that, this is an interesting fact for the women out there and men, that women, when they use 70% of their income goes back into the community. I don't know what happens with men and where they put their money, but anyway, we won't go into that. We'll leave that for another day.
Our money goes to the women.
And so they also found that women are more likely to de-escalate a situation than men are. So Akashinga is basically now this unit with women. You doing all the spectrum. There were other anti-poaching units, but women would only do certain things. But this one is the first of its kind that does everything. Women do all aspects of anti-poaching. So that's how I participate in conservation, and also I have initiative that I've started because I think it's really important to start really young to educate children on conservation and to actually just get them to experience the wildlife. I noticed that my perception before I came to Akashinga, I noticed that my perception of conservation was very skewed.
Tell us about this skewedness.
Yes. I mean, I consider myself a little educated and a little exposed, but I thought my perception of conservation was that it was elitist and colonial. And then I found myself with these women who have marginalized women in the deep and beyond in Zimbabwe, who are doing such remarkable work, protecting our heritage, protecting our animals, and also making a difference in their own community. So from there, I thought that, this is something that we need to intentionally do. Make our children go out, experience the wilderness, because firstly, going on safari doesn't come cheap, Yeah. And so I have an initiative called Bana Musango, which literally means children in the wilderness. And I look to bring disadvantaged children to have an experiential experience in the wilderness, to learn to experience the wild, the animals, but also to learn about conservation at a young age. Yeah.
The little Shona I know, I say Akashinga means the brave ones.
Yes, look at you.
Actually, I just looked it up. I'm sorry.
Also, let me look for something.
I impressed you for a moment.
I was like, okay, all right. I'm like, Bantu, yes, we are all one people, yes. But when I do go out there, I try to be there at minimum 7 days out in the wilderness. But obviously the women are there 24/7, and it initially started in 2017. It started as 16 women, but now we're up to about, I think it's 200 plus women who've been brought on board.
Let me ask you, back in Zimbabwe, is the Ministry of, you have like a Ministry of Wildlife or Tourism, are they supportive of these initiatives? Because, like Africans, sometimes you listen to what governments have to say about some things and it just doesn't all go well with how things should be. Are they supportive? Do you get to interact with them? They implement what you...
Very supportive. I think, like currently, we actually have our Minister of it's such a long name. Let me see if I can get it. Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Tourism, and
SMS, Wi-Fi,
and, hospitality industry. It's like everything is there. Yeah. So he's actually come to the premiere as well. We're hoping to have the CS come as well from here, and so I get a lot of support, even just with the parks. Parks is under that ministry, and they were very supportive with the production as well. They came and they partnered with us. So yeah, I think we have our president is called a listening president. So I think also the ministries and those under him also listen. So there's been a lot of support, and I think there's an appreciation for what film can do and the soft power that film can be. So the themes that run in the film are things that are quite a lot aligned with what the ministry has been, I guess, challenges that the ministry finds, because it's things on the ground. It's not like I'm making stuff up. It's there. It's on the ground.
Is the president also supportive of your initiative?
He actually, for the Akashinga. What's it called? Akashinga. He actually met the women and gave support with. This was back in 2018, I think it was. Met the women and basically was very encouraging towards what the women are doing back in Zimbabwe, in Hurungwe.
All right.
Yeah.
In your family, do you have like brothers and sisters?
Too many. Very many. That's not good.
You call each other by number.
By now,
where's number 16
Sometimes
today?
I forget what my number is.
Are they also in this? Is there any one of them who's in wildlife conservation, film? Or everyone took a different path?
Everyone took a different path. There's one who's in entertainment. He's but in the plug, it was actually his birthday the other day. He's got an entertainment company called The Movement, and they have like this. I think it's really cool, and not just because it's my brother, but fusion, like a DJ playing and like live music fusion. I think it's really cool.
I've seen that before.
And then the others, there's one who's like in tourism. I think that's the closest we get to conservation. Yeah.
That's number out of all 30 children.
I think that's number 2, and yeah.
And you a number?
I'm number
You forget sometimes.
5.
Oh, okay. Gonarezhou, where do you go from here now?
Where do we go
Yes.
from here? So Gonarezhou, like I mentioned, actually we're doing a premiere in Nigeria on the 4th of December.
Nice.
And then we're doing a premiere in South Africa on the 3rd of March, which is World Wildlife Day. The 4th of December is World Animal Day. So it's unfortunate today is not a day for anything. But anyway, we are glad to be in Kenya. And then we're going on to a streaming platform. Yeah.
You've got another movie that will be coming out very soon.
Well, no, it's not coming out very soon. I'm actually in production with right now. It's a multinational collaboration. It'll be a series of films. The first installment is a collaboration between Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and Senegal. And then the next installment is where I'll be collaborating with the Kenya Film Commission, and really excited to be coming back to Kenya and filming in Kenya. I've seen, like I said, I love what KFC is doing, not the chicken place, but the
Even
film
them, they're doing
commission.
good things.
They're doing good things, but not to my waistline though. But anyway, they're doing good things, and looking forward to collaborating with Kenyan filmmakers.
All right. Have you spotted any Kenyan filmmaker you'd like to, work with?
Yes, actually. Well, things aren't yet signed, but there's definitely somebody who I've identified, and we're actually working together on this premiere. But I found my co-producer, who I'll be working with next year.
Oh.
It's a she.
It's
a she.
How was the movie received in Zimbabwe?
It was received very well. So what we did was it premiered in February 2020 in LA, and then it came to Zimbabwe in November. COVID also messed things up, but came to Zimbabwe in November, and we did a 3-city tour, and it was so well received. Loved it, and everyone's like, when can it be freely or publicly accessed? It's not easy to get onto streaming platforms. I just want to put it out. I thought I was like, yeah, okay, you just make the film and then you go. No.
What happens? What's
Well, the other thing is that I guess when we released, COVID happened. So normally you do like a festival tour, which you go to different festivals, and at those festivals you have aggregators who basically work for streaming platforms.
Now that you've talked about, they don't knowing what you want to do, maybe you can talk to the youth or even adults. Because just sometimes you can hang out with people and they're like, no, you're into basketball or you're into photography. Just stay there, just stay there, just stay there.
So parents, allow your children to explore, support them as best you can, and to people who are trying to figure out what it is they want to do. I just want to encourage you to don't limit yourself. Don't let society dictate on what is the right thing to do and what is. Yeah, just don't let society dictate to you what you should do in your life. If you feel that you're passionate about something, even though there's not a lot of support in that thing, just, believe in yourself. I think that is core. And if it's part of your calling, so I believe that I'm called to influence culture through storytelling. If you figure out what your purpose is and go with that, whatever you're passionate about is probably an indicator of what you were born to.
For what? Making sure conservation goes on.
Perfect. Perfect.
And if he brings you any trouble, kick his ass.
Oh, definitely. I'm already looking at those pressure points. All right.
We don't encourage violence against men. That could be be my entry into film. It's a story about me and how I got my ass kicked.
I tried kickboxing.
I try kickboxing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really happy to be in Kenya. I think, like I expressed before, I love what you guys are doing with film, and I actually hope to see more collaboration between Zimbabwe and Kenya in regard to film, to see how we can trade and find best practices and share. Definitely, it's something that I would like to see. And with regard to conservation, I'd also love to see collaboration. I think in general, I think as Africans, we just need to collaborate. We need to just come together and just be one big happy family singing Kumbaya.
That's what Gaddafi tried and
That is true.
Yes.
That is true. But yeah, I think we can definitely come together and come and figure out how to look after our heritage, our wildlife, swap notes, and support each other.
All right. Before we wrap it up, we normally play a lot of Afrobeats and African songs. Do you have like one African song that you're really jamming to at the moment?
Well, it's
The late great,
how I love him. How I love.
Oh, Todi.
Todi, why don't we play that?
Thank you.
Let's do that. Let's do
Jeff is
that.
6 steps ahead of me. Yeah, I already put it at like 7:05.
Like, why do I feel set up here? What is this?
TARIRO, WASHE, what a pleasure.
It was my pleasure.
Keep doing what you do, huh?
Thank you.
And congratulations on the movie. And
Thank you.
premiere tonight at the Westgate Mall.
Yeah,
Yes.
keep rising, keep shining, share the story, go across the globe.
And if you get your invite, maybe you can take me along.
Yeah, you can be. In fact, I'll give you an invite, and you can be his plus one.
Oh, snap!
That is another movie also.
Oh, Tony.
Go, Tony.
Tatenda.
Oh, Toddy.